Hello and welcome to the first ever episode of Fingers and Custard, the Explosion Network's Doctor Who Aftershow, where we'll be talking each week about Doctor Who. Joining me every week, unless he falls sick, will be the one and only Ashley Hobley.
Thanks, Dylan, for having me here every week, unless I get sick.
Unless you get sick, at which point I have no idea what I do.
I regenerate.
Got him very in time. So since this is the first episode and the first one we're doing, and we kind of just discussed this on our movie podcast called What Do You Want to Watch, but we'll do it again anyway for this show. What is your history with Doctor Who?
So I think whenever series 7 was airing, I believe, or like halfway through Matt Smith's era, I got in. I watched the Good Man Goes to War episode, which everybody knows that's the episode that ends with revealing that Riversong is Rory and Amy's daughter.
Sweetie.
Spoilers. Yeah. If you're watching this episode, I think you're spoiled you should have watched all 10 seasons.
Well,
I would assume that. I mean, this is a pretty good jumping on point. So
I would say this is the best jumping on point you've had since Eccleston, honestly.
Ooh. Matt Smith was a pretty good jumping on point, I would have thought.
Do you think so?
Yeah.
I suppose to a degree, but at the same time, I feel like this is just the cleanest slate that we've had. Because even stuff that Matt Smith deals with, like Riversong, is tied into meeting her.
Yeah, that's
in
true.
Eccleston.
That was
so there is still elements.
Was hot on the heels of Eccleston.
Tennant was hot on the heels of Eccleston. Rose carrying on, of course, everything like that. So
yeah,
I feel like this.
But I watched that one night, and then I went back and watched everything. Yeah.
Everything. I went back one night and I watched everything. So my history is seeing black and white episodes on TV when I was a kid, watching those, not knowing that it was Doctor Who, but then growing older and realizing it was Doctor Who. But I'd get put in front of those to watch, and I remember enjoying them as a kid. And then we would, and then I never really paid attention to Doctor Who as I got older until obviously the reboot happened, and then I jumped in around the first or second, whatever was airing at the time was the first or second season of Tennant era. And then I went back, watched Eccleston, caught up to Tennant, and then watched episode by episode as it was airing, up until Peter Capaldi, where I dropped off in the last season. So I dropped off in season 10. By dropped off, I mean I have watched it since then. Yeah. I dropped off watching it concurrently.
Weekly.
Yeah.
Live.
Live. So I 3 or 4 episodes into season 10, I was kind of like, I'm not enjoying this much anymore. I'm not having a great time with it.
There was other stuff.
There was other stuff, of course, yeah. And I dropped off. I have since gone back and watched those episodes to catch up before this season starts, because I was super excited about this season and happy to get really excited about Doctor Who again. There was my fandom was at a point one time there, and Matt Smith is my favorite Doctor. Like you say, yours is. There was a point there where I was so excited for the new season to start. I can't remember whatever season number it is. It's the one where he gets spoilers. Astronaut shoots him, right? The astronaut shoots and kills the Doctor, and that's like the whole. I can't remember what exact season number it is though. But that's
series 6
or something. I don't know. The Silence. That's the Silence season anyway. I was so excited for that season. I had to was driving somewhere that day. Someone was driving me somewhere that day. That episode come out. I downloaded it off the internet. I put it on a USB drive. I watched it on a portable DVD player. I couldn't wait until I got home, Ash.
A portable DVD player?
Yeah.
You like burnt it to a DVD.
Yeah.
That's impressive.
Yeah, so like the flip CD screen, whatever,
Yeah.
So anyone. I don't know who owned those. But...
Wouldn't you have, in the time it took you to do that, couldn't you have just watched the episode?
No. No, I don't think so.
So it was quicker to download the episode
Yeah.
and burn it to a disk than it was to.
Well, burning
watch the
took
whole
like
thing.
10 seconds.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway,
Okay.
off topic. That's history of
Off
Doctor Who.
topic.
Yeah. So we've covered that. I felt like it was necessary to cover that, considering it's a
Yeah.
TV show about Doctor Who, of course. So every week after this episode, we will be kind of going through the plot, as we do with most of our after shows here at the Explosion Network. We'll just be going through the plot, talking about what happens, breaking down any big things, stopping at moments of importance, talking about any really big character moments, those sorts of things. That's how it's usually going to go. And we'll always start with the first question, which is always going to be your general thoughts on this week's episode type of thing. At the end of every episode, we're going to rate the villain of the week, unless there isn't a villain of the week, which case just skip the question, I guess. But they have said that every villain in this season is going to be a new... there's going to be no like Daleks or Cybermen or any...
No Daleks.
There's apparently no repeats showing up this season, which I'm still like, maybe they, finale... Daleks always fucking show up or something like that. It's just how it goes. So we'll be rating those, the monsters, because monsters in Doctor Who is obviously the hugest element of it, apart from the Doctor or the companions or friends of the Doctor, as we now refer to them. So that's something I think we're going to go to. For the first episode, it's going to be a little bit different because there are a couple of questions to get out of the way, considering it's the first episode with whole new cast and everyone. So we're going to go over those first before jumping into what would be the normal show. But we will start with, what are your overall thoughts on the episode, the premiere episode?
Yeah, I thought it was pretty solid. Obviously, it's a bit tough. They had to introduce like everybody, so it's 4 new characters really, and then have a plot, a storyline to go along with it. It would left me on a positive note. I guess that's the best thing you can say about it, and that's what it needed to do. Like at the end of the episode, you're like, yeah, I want to see more of this Doctor and her friends.
I honestly feel like the best first now I really like Matt Smith's first episode. Obviously the show is called Fingers and Custard, which does come from Matt Smith's first episode as the Doctor. But other than that episode, I would say the best first episode any Doctor of the new era has had is Christopher Eccleston, but because it is a rebooted era, just because he runs in there and says basically just run, and that's like such a, it's like a very kickstart moment for what Doctor Who would be from then till now kind of thing, I guess, in the very moment. But other than that, I'd say most of the first episodes of New Doctors is...
I like Tenets.
Like, they're never amazing.
Not great episodes, but they've got good moments. And
they always feel weird. They feel better on rewatches, is the thing.
Yeah.
Because the first time you're watching them, you're always like...
Once you're like, after you watch the whole
new
season.
Doctor, you go back, you can enjoy it more. But I feel like, the first time it's always like, you're trying to get a feel, which is weird because, I mean, the Doctor is the same character, but every time it's like, I like this person because it's new characteristics and everything like that.
And the Doctor in the first episode is rarely the Doctor that we end up with. Like,
that's true. And even if you look at the last so Peter Capaldi in his first episode was doing a lot. He was all over the place with his motion swings and all that sort of stuff, and that comes down to the Doctor's regenerating, so it's still like piecing together pieces, and you get them swinging all over the place. That's what I was saying. Someone was tweeting at me about it early in the week, and I was saying, I really can't tell. There are pieces that were saying like this Doctor seems like Matt Smith's. It's like, kind of does to a degree, but at the same time, it's the first episode. She's regenerating. Like, how much of that is like what is going to stick as being part of her Doctor? And that's not to say all of it's fake, because I would believe that most of what we see, especially in the later half of this episode, is what she's basically going to be like. But a lot of those like random tics, characteristics, the tongue stuff and whatever else, that's all just part of the regeneration stuff, I believe. So take with that as you will. All right, so let's jump into the thing. Let's break down.
What did you think of the episode?
I really enjoyed it. I really liked it.
Because you reviewed it over
reviewed it on ExplosionNetwork.com. I gave it an 8. I think it's really good. I think it's a really great fresh start for the season. As I said, I dropped off last season. Was feeling it was becoming very stagnant, very boring. Stephen Moffat was becoming lost in what his direction for that show completely. So having whole new cast in front of the screen and behind just feels, you can feel it. Like it's everything. And then like, special effects, which I want to talk about a bit more when we get into discussion of certain parts of the episode. But special effects look greater. Cinematography looks better. The story I felt was fine. I have problems with the villain, which I'll talk about a bit later. But, you know, really loved what we got of the Doctor. Really enjoyed everything about all the new companions. So it's like tick boxes here and then a couple things that were like, But first impressions episode, really, really enjoyed it. So let's talk about the companions before jumping into the Doctor and everything else. So the first two companions are Yaz and Ren, played by Mandip Gill and Tosin Cole. What are your overall thoughts on these two characters? So we have Ryan. We have Yaz. Sorry, we'll start with her. You have Yaz, who's a cop. And her basic structure that we get from this episode is she's somebody who wants to, you know, do more. Which I wouldn't say is like a very unique story for a cop, but it works for Doctor Who, considering she's I reckon out of all three companions, friends of the Doctor, that we end up with by the end of the episode, she's the one that most makes sense to click with wanting to come on adventures to help save people around the galaxy, because we automatically in that first scene we meet her, she's just straight up someone who has that urge to want to do something greater in the world. So she's the one that makes the most sense to come on the TARDIS journey. And then you've got Ryan. Ryan's interesting. We know that they went to the same school together, but for some reason Ryan feels a lot younger than her, you know. Like it's not nothing to do with him
wise, or like look.
I suppose it's just because she's a cop, she's more, you know, she just seems
older,
just independent and everything, you know, all that sort of stuff. But
more advanced in life,
I guess. Yeah, like, but Ryan's interesting, I think. So we find out that he works in a warehouse where he's saving up money so he can go study to be a mechanic. So he does have a goal, but his goal isn't. I wouldn't say that studying to be a mechanic is very Dr. TARDIS companion, you know. Like, not so much as wanting to save the planet as a police officer. It doesn't click the same, I suppose. But that's not to say everyone that's ever been in the TARDIS is obviously a police officer. I'm just saying that Yaz stands out as someone who would click to want to do that more, a bit more adventurous than Ryan would be. Ryan is more careful because of a reason, because we find out that Ryan has I don't want to say it wrong. Dyspraxia? Dyspraxia?
Yeah,
Dyspraxia, which is described as, from Medical News Today, that's where I copy-pasted this thing from, a person with dyspraxia has problems with movement, coordination, judgment, processing, memory, and some other cognitive skills. It affects the body's immune and nervous system as well, which was interesting. Like, that's how we're introduced to him as a character. It's definitely something, it's a condition that I personally haven't seen like tackled or at least openly in TV from a character or a movie character or anything like that. So that was an interesting way for them to take it. It's like they've got a big, varied cast, and none of the friends of the Doctor that we meet are like superheroes, I guess, you know. That's the thing. And I feel
my only concern is that he's going to be like cause trouble all the time, and that's going to be the thing.
That was my worry at first.
Yeah.
That was my worry at first. However, when we got later into the episode,
it's either going to be that, or it's not going to affect him at all. Is what are my two concerns.
I think the best thing, and you can tell that. I think the way you can tell that they're writing it well is that instead of having him at the start of the episode struggling to ride the bike, like that's his problem that introduces. Like, he wants to ride a bike, he can never learn how to ride a bike because of his condition. So his family is trying to teach him how to ride the bike. Now, if they were cheap and shit with the writing in this, and they wanted a cheap emotional moment that wouldn't make sense really, they would have had him by the end of the episode magically overcome it and be able to ride a bike. And that's what they would have done in the cheap shitty route. That doesn't really make sense, because in real life I'm sure that's not really how the condition
that's not
works,
possible.
You know, that's not really what it is.
Not likely
Anyway. So that's just not how it's going to go. What do you think though, at least do? What do we think from the first episode?
Yeah, they make a good pair. I mean, they seem to have good chemistry or whatever, which I feel like instantly you think Amy and Rory, like,
did you?
Maybe there's some sort of courtship. Maybe, well, that's what we're always thinking when we talk. when I'm on a show with you, I'm
like
always
Amy
seeing
or Rory.
couplings come up.
You know, like she's nothing like Amy because Amy's such a, headstrong, independent woman, whatever you want to, she was very loud, independent, headstrong, run into danger kind of character, I guess. Yaz is a cop. But like I feel like it's very different to.
Well, Amy was a cop in the.
Yeah, when we first met her, technically, episode. I suppose. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I enjoyed them. I feel like I've got a better idea about the kind of character that Yaz is compared to Ryan, though. I suppose. Like just knowing that, because you get a general idea of she wants to do more. She's just looking for a better case. Blah 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 blah. And like when she meets up with him, she's automatically like, yeah, you're telling me bullshit about this egg, this alien stuff. But then she's not like, come on, I'll arrest you, you scum, straight away. Because at first she doesn't realize that they know each other. But she wasn't like, come here, you must be on drugs or some shit, like arrest him. So she's never played out to be a shitty person, which is good. She's not like
and then at the start, the first time I see her, she's like having sorting out that dispute between the two, the traffic dispute. Yeah, like trying to mediate,
which she does well. She's just like, you pay for this fucking thing and you pay for this thing, and that's it. Move on with your life.
Which the Doctor is going to like. Characteristic.
Yeah. So then our other character, or what we thought was going to be two characters, R.I.P., was.
I knew. To be fair, I knew straight away because I knew there was only going to be three.
Yeah, I mean, if you pay attention to any of the promos, and
even
the
poster, even if I didn't know that, you could tell someone was going to.
I know, but did you think? I didn't think she was going to die, though. I mean, it's nothing to do with Graham, who's our third actual friend of the Doctor, but like, I didn't think that Grace was going to die. I simply thought that she would get left on Earth, somehow. Like how we got there, I don't know. But how's that any different?
I wish she didn't die. I liked her. She was good.
No, she was really good. That's why I'm surprised they killed her as fast as they did. But yeah, so Graham is played by Bradley Walsh, and his wife Grace is played by Sharon D. Clarke, who unfortunately dies by the end of the episode. These two were great, and this is the thing: if they left her on Earth, which would have been a possibility, there was no. I don't feel like killing her was necessary to get to where they wanted to get to by the end of the episode. Like they still could have got to that point with her alive.
I feel like for the story going forward, it would give those two companions a reason to come back to Earth. Whereas now they don't really have one. They can just keep going back on adventures.
I guess so, but isn't it no different than Rose like coming back, visiting her mother, visiting Mickey, you know what I mean? Like there was always people to come back to, say her adventures to, and they could have done a similar type of thing where they'd go off, come on adventures, come back, say hi. But I mean, they do that like what's the last name in the last? Well, this is how much attention I honestly paid to the last season. Bill. Sorry, Bill had her mum, her friend, who she would speak to, right, all the time. And then then she had that girlfriend at one stage. So there was still always people to tie her to come back, but then she was still happy to zip off. Just bring me back 5 minutes from now type thing. And it's a fucking time machine, sort your shit out, Doctor. Do it properly. But these two were great, especially Sharon, who was playing Grace. Like she was just, from the moment the episode opens, because of course the episode opens with them like doing the whole bike practice, come on, she just has that emanating warmness of, it's like, come on, Gran, and you're like, okay, she's the fun, great grandma or whatever. And at first, I thought maybe Graham was going to turn out to be kind of the shitty step grandpa, or however you want to go call it about it.
Step granddad.
Yeah, step granddad. Because a lot of the time, it is like a trope to have, there's a stepfather, step granddad, whatever. And the other person's married them and really likes them for whatever reason. But then we learn that the reason that the character, our main character, doesn't like them is because they know what they know they're a bad person on the side and all this sort of thing. And we brought around, but it really is just, Ryan doesn't not like him. I feel like
he just finds it annoying.
He just finds it even after how many years, I think they said it was like 2 or 3 years that they'd
like
been
3 now.
married or something like that. Yeah, I feel like he just still finds it weird to push the whole call him grandpa aspect, I suppose. But it didn't seem like he struggled. Like, he didn't not like him. He just didn't like that aspect of it, you know? It's like, as a person, maybe he likes him. But the part where it's like, calling grandpa, he's like, no. And we never learn.
I think in general, that's a weird thing.
Yes, but
I feel like
we never learn what happened to unless I missed it, we don't learn what actually happened to his original guy. Like, so maybe he died, and that was like, maybe he was really attached.
Maybe he's still alive.
Or he could still be alive.
It's still weird.
That's everything is a possibility, I suppose. That is true.
Yeah.
And then of course the third most important the fourth most important we're introduced to going forward is Jodie Whittaker's 13th Doctor. So overall, looking at her as a whole, first impressions, where are you placing her in your list? First impressions.
Oh, in the list?
That's I'm
I don't
checking on
think
you.
I can. It's too soon.
Where on first impressions? If you compare it to other first impressions, where do you reckon you'd fit her in?
Probably a third or fourth out of the 5 Monera.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Probably Matt Smith's top.
Mm-hmm.
And then David Tennant, like, for that last like scene of that episode.
Yeah.
Where he's like puts up with no shit. And then obviously Eccleston.
You'd have her below Eccleston as well?
I think either those two are pretty close, I think.
Okay.
And then Capaldi's was not great, but
no.
I still enjoyed Capaldi, so
we're talking a lot of crap on Capaldi.
Capaldi had a lot of good.
He did. I agree.
I think he got off to a slow start, but
yeah,
there's a lot of great episodes in there.
Let me make my note that my problem isn't him; it's the writing. It's not him. I quite like her. It's the thing. You can tell it's the Doctor, and that's the important.
Yeah, that's
thing.
I don't think we would care if it was played by a man or a woman. Is what I was thinking. It doesn't matter. It was the Doctor.
Yes, that is the thing. Now they can. Yeah, I think in this particular episode, the facts, and I don't really like talking about it, but it is obviously a thing, and it's going to come up a few more times, I think. But I think the fact that she is a woman really isn't that important to this episode. I think they, in future episodes, will use that in the story to do things they weren't able to do before, and to touch on things they weren't able.
Like historical figures will react differently and that sort of thing.
Yeah, that sort of stuff. So that's stuff that's going to be interesting going forward. This episode, however, the only time they really touched on it is like when she crashes in the train and like how
called her madam.
Yeah, they called her madam or whatever, and she's like, "Am I? Oh, that's interesting." Like, it's not even like a big deal. It's just like, oh, that's a first. I feel like the Doctor would be more shocked if she was a redhead, you know.
Yeah,
that's the thing.
Yeah, there was no joke about that.
There was no. They missed out on the redhead jokes. It was quite disappointing, honestly. But yeah, I think on the first impressions, I'd probably place her at third for me. Like, I'd go Matt Smith, Tennant, then her, and then whatever order below that. But which is good. I think it's high bar. I love the way that she shows up. I enjoy that she shows.
How did she survive the fall though?
Because she's regenerating. Like they've done this before on the show where they've thrown the Doctor around a bunch and gone, how did he survive that? And it's been like, well, we're still regenerating. So,
although I found it at the Wedding of Riversong, the second season, like the end of the astronaut season, it doesn't make sense because how did he have the regeneration energy at the start if he was at the end of his regeneration cycle? And how can he be killed mid-regeneration?
I would have to go back and read some forums with, I'm sure someone has answers. I can't really remember.
Even Moffat, if you're watching, hit us up with the answers.
He's like, no, he's moving on. He's got to write that Adventures of Tintin sequel.
Is that what he's doing?
I don't know. All I know is he wrote the script for the first one, and then other people got involved.
I thought that was Edgar Wright.
Steve Moffat wrote the original screenplay. He's credited, and then other people jumped on and took it, or he did rework stuff.
That's right. I remember now.
I'm pretty sure it was one way or the other. All right, let's jump into that actual episode though. So this is how we will usually do the show to some degree. Except for I'm going to do it a lot faster because we've already gone for a while. So this is called The Woman Who Fell to Earth. It's directed by Jamie Childs and written by Chris Chibol. Do you say Chibol? I suppose that's how you say it, right? We better get this right for the future.
There's an N.
Okay. Chimlo. Okay.
Chibnall.
I'll get it right by the end of the season.
By the end of the season.
Sorry. Which I will have to get right because he is writing a few of the episodes and of course is now the head honcho of Doctor Who. So that's an important aspect to get right. The synopsis for this episode is we don't get aliens in Sheffield. In a South Yorkshire city, Ryan Sinclair, Yasmin Khan, and Graham O'Brien are about to have their lives changed forever as a mysterious woman, unable to remember her own name, falls from the night sky. Can they believe a word she says? And can she help solve the strange events taking place across the city? So the first interesting thing to point out, I think, is, like we was talking before, touching on the jumping on point stuff. There are several things that make this the best jumping on point, I think, that they've had since the thing. But they know that this is a great jumping on point. And you can tell from the synopsis writing to the way the plot plays out and the fact that the Doctor can't remember who they are. And it's like that's like a plot point. Like, who am I? What is my name? Blah, blah, blah. And then you get a cool moment for fans of the show where she's finally like, I am the Doctor, and does like a usual kind of Doctor speech, which is what we're going to get going forward and what the Doctor's like. But at the same time, it works for new people coming in, I believe, like helps them be like, who is this character? And they get to go on the journey of discovering who this character is, which is the same as from Eccleston in that first episode where he runs into that room where Rose is and says, come with me. And then for the rest of the episode, if you don't know anything about Doctor Who or who that character is, you are, like Rose, the whole episode going, who is this person?
Who is this person?
Yeah, like let me learn about him. And that's why I reckon this is the best jumping on point since then, because every other regeneration isn't like that. Like it is, of course, someone being who is this person, but the Doctor themselves isn't as big of a mystery or played out to be as big as a mystery to the audience, I guess.
Well, in that regard, I think probably the Matt Smith is probably close. It's just later on into the series that you get ties to the previous. Yeah.
All right, so let's jump into the episode. The first thing I found really cool about this episode is for the first 10-ish minutes, I think it plays out like a horror movie. Because the Doctor doesn't show up until 10 minutes into it. We get introduced to all of our characters. We get introduced to Yaz, Ryan, Graham, Grace, of course, as well. And we introduce these characters. Here's who they are. Here's what's happening in their lives. Meet them across. And then get on train. Chilling out on train. Heading home. And then Ryan's over here trying to find his bike that he raged out and chucked into the bush, which was quite funny.
That was.
And then he finds a giant alien. Well, first he finds glowing glyphs in the sky that seemed like they were from, I don't know, God of War or something. Presses a button. Yeah. Alien egg shows up. Was like, cool. There's an alien egg. Might call the police. And then, of course, Yaz shows up. And then they're down here doing this. They're on the train. So all of this, what do you think of this first 10 minutes before Doctor shows up? Because it did seem very much like a setup to like a sci-fi horror.
Yeah, it was very.
This could have been a different show. Like,
yeah, they could. It would be a very interesting British drama about a child trying to overcome his difficulties and learn to ride a bike.
Sure.
Cross with the bill.
Cross the bill. Sorry, I just want to point out, I didn't realize Dash was in chat before. I was trying to correct my my pronunciation of Chibnall. Chibnall. To which I apologize. But as I said, I'll get it right by the end of the season.
Dash.
Thanks, Dash.
Dashculture.com.
Dashculture.com.
Wait, I don't know if that's an actual site.
It's fine, doesn't matter. So yeah, I thought the first 10 minutes was interesting from that aspect because it does. And for a split second there in my mind, I was like, I did kind of forget what I was watching. Like I wasn't sitting there like, what am I watching here? But for a split second, I could feel my mind kind of tick off and be like, was, especially as was approaching up to the couple minutes leading before the Doctor crashed in, I was just kind of, my body was settling into what I thought I was watching, which was going, oh, I'm watching some sort of British sci-fi horror movie about to happen here, because this, of course, they're on the train there, and this giant fucking electric cloud thing, which we find out later is like a coils wrapped around coils and more coils, something or other, crashes in. And this straight away looked good. I felt like this was where I was like, this looks, you can tell they've changed who does the special effects, because this didn't look shit to me. What did you think of the special effects? Because most of the time Doctor Who effects, they're not known for looking good.
Well, I haven't watched. Oh, well, I have watched recently. I didn't notice a distinct difference, but maybe I wasn't really looking for it. So,
what do you mean? Like at
the special effects, I just thought, oh yeah, that's another monster. Maybe I'm just so used to terrible special effects that it doesn't. They all blend together.
Come on, Ash. What are you doing? Come on. I think they have changed from the start of New Who to last season 10. It was the same company doing it. They've now switched. I can't remember the company's name. I should have wrote it down in front of me. I did mention it in my review though, explosionnetwork.com. They've changed to the company that did the special effects on Blade Runner 2049. Ooh. So that is who's doing the special effects.
They're pretty good.
Yeah, that's who's doing the special effects for Doctor Who now for this season. And like this to me, from an outside point of view, just, you know, every change behind the scene, be it from the show creators to the writers' room, of course, all the stuff about like they made the show a lot more inclusive on screen and off screen, changing their SFX, all this sort of stuff. Is the best thing they could have done.
DNEG.
Okay. Is the best thing they could have done, I feel, for the show, because it everything in front and behind the camera, it looks improved. Special effects, writing, you just tell it just feels better. And as I said, I dropped off the last season because it just felt stagnant. But everything about this feels fresh.
It's fresh.
Yes, including the special effects, which I thought looked really, really good. Well, for a BBC show, you know what I mean? Like, we're not talking about HBO budget type shit happening here. We got a certain level of, there's a bar, I feel like, money wise, I suppose. So electric things coming in. Ryan and Yaz are speeding away in the cop car. They're like, yeah, we'll go save him, because Gran rang me. She's in trouble. There's fucking electric monster on the bus, the train. What are we going to do?
Electric monster, you call your grandson. That's what.
Yeah, that's what you do. You don't call the cops. You're like, Ryan, I know you threw your fucking bike in the bush and you can't ride it too well, but get on it, mate. We need your help. If ever there's a time to learn, do it now.
What you needed all along was motivation. Yeah,
he's like, are you faking this, Gran? Are you trying to push me? No, really, I'm gonna die. There's a fucking electric eel monster crashing in. What are we gonna do? But of course, right as they run into the room, like it's lucky that the train stopped as well. I'd like to point out, lucky for them in the car trying to catch up. That all worked out really well. But they run into the room. The electric eel thing's coming down, looks like it's about to attack someone, and then right then, out of nowhere, the Doctor crashes through the roof, lands on the floor, stands up, and is like,
roof.
Where the hell am I? Yeah, it would have really fucking hurt. Which they had to. The thing about this that interests me is because the regeneration in the Christmas special ended with her getting thrown out of the TARDIS, right?
The TARDIS,
I do wonder if at the time like Chris kind of knew what he was going to do in the first episode, or it's like, we'll chuck her out, figure it out later.
Also, they need to stop regenerating in the TARDIS.
I agree. It's fun. It was good for the first couple times.
3 times.
Where it was like, oh yeah.
3 times now he's ruined the TARDIS.
You wrecked it, but at some point you do have to say, step outside, mate. Like,
let's go to an abandoned moon. I know I'm dying.
I know you got to cry and have your big teary every time you regenerate. I don't want to go. You know, fucking blow everything up.
I know you love the TARDIS so much. You want to be the last thing to see with your face, but
and also
you don't want to take it out.
We know the TARDIS has feelings and everything now, so
yeah.
Like, just leave it the fuck alone. I don't like it. You just keep destroying it. That's a very good point. And that's why I have a theory that this season will revolve around the Doctor trying to find the TARDIS all season, and we'll never actually find it. Everyone's like, wonder what the new Doctor's TARDIS is going to look like. You're never going to see it. We never find it. It's gone. It's gone.
His feelings were hurt.
Yeah.
How many times have you destroyed me?
It's gone. I was like, oh, fucked off. I'm not coming back for you. Bye. So yeah, Doctor comes in. Doctor does Doctor things, of course, being like, "Who are you? Where'd you come from?" Typical questions the Doctor asks aliens and weird life forms, of course, because neutral, nice aspect. Isn't like, "How do I kill you?" It's like, "How do I?"
Yeah.
Hello, nice to meet you.
Hi.
What do I do? The electric eel thing zaps everyone, which we later find out are bombs implanted in their neck. So that's like to put a pin in that note because it comes towards one of my complaints about the episode later. And then fucks off. It's like, hey, I'm done, bye.
Yeah.
Cools around. Doctor, of course, tries to explain that thing's alien. We get the cool line about there's no aliens in Sheffield, which ties Holler back because she's from Yorkshire somewhere. Like that's where wasn't what Jodie Whittaker's from, That's they set the episode, the premiere episode for her Doctor in the same sort of area where she's actually born from, and she has the accent as the Doctor. They didn't say, hey, can you not like tone down your accent or just put on like a British accent for the Doctor or something like that. They let it. No, I think she can because I've seen her in stuff where. No, I haven't watched her in something for a little bit before watching this, but from memory, I'm pretty sure she's toned it down in other stuff I've watched. It's definitely not like she is in this. And I mean, David Tennant, of course, wasn't like really blurting out accent. He did tone it down a little bit, I feel. Surely.
Yeah.
They introduced Carl. Carl's important later, so we'll mention him. Carl's like, hey, how you going? I'm good. How are you? Alien? Don't believe you. Bye. Gotta get to work. What's more important? I just
got attacked by monsters. Can't take day off.
If that's me, I'm like, oh my god, yes. Ring up work. You won't believe what just happened. Aliens, I know, right? No, I'm not making it up. I have to go down.
He's a police officer.
Yeah, it's like I have to go to the police station. I have to go to the hospital. All of a sudden you go to the hospital. You're like, I have fucking PTSD. You know what I mean? Like you suck. You get as much out of that so you can get off work for as long as you can. It would be the first thing I'm thinking if that happens to me.
Especially for that character as well, who it seems like he doesn't enjoy his job.
Not really. Yeah, but he's like, fuck. I better go to work. Better get there. He wasn't paying
out of obligation.
Doesn't pay enough attention how to get out of work. It feels not doing it right at all. Yeah. So then Carl leaves and the Doctor's like, cool, we're gonna team up. We're all friends now. I know your name. We're friends. That's how it works. Your friends call you Yaz. I call you Yaz now because I'm your friend. Let's go. They'll head off in attempts to look for weird signs on their. They each have an area of specialty. Expertise. Ryan's like, I'm going to look on social media. Yaz is like, I'll talk to the police officers. Grace says that she'll, what's she do? I can't fucking remember.
The nurse's WhatsApp.
That's the nurse's WhatsApp.
Is that how WhatsApp work? Isn't it just like a messaging app?
It is like I've used it once or twice. And yeah, I mean, it's just from what I saw, it's just one big messenger feed thing. Yeah. So. I don't know. I really don't know. But yeah, the nurse's WhatsApp, and then Graham runs over to talk to his bus.
The bus drivers.
The bus drivers.
The bus drivers know everything.
They know everything, which proves to be kind of true.
We know something.
Needs to be true by the end of the episode. Yeah. Go talk to the lads. Go talk to the lads down the bus driver station. See what they can do. Help me out.
Yep.
And then while they're all sending off, of course, the Doctor passes out, which was a funny scene because she's like. Has her fingers up her nose and it's like, I think I'm going to pass out in 2 minutes, maybe. No, actually, no, like 10 seconds. This is a really good nose, this one. And then faints, which was a very, funny. It was quite a funny. And that was a more Matt Smithy or, you know what I mean? Like that type of stuff is the more, and like the tongue thing, like that sort of stuff is the more Matt Smithy type stuff. It reminds me he
does do a couple of physical things throughout the episode, like physical comedy.
So I wonder how much of that is going to continue.
Yeah,
like that weird stuff. Like I know, like there are physical comedy, and then there's sticking your fingers up your nose and touching the tongue, whatever. There is a line there, I suppose. So I wonder how much of that is regen being weird and just
how much is Actual Doctor.
Actual 13th Doctor. Yeah. We'll find out next episode, I suppose. So she passes. One thing I want to point out, this, when she's on the couch, because they take her to, I can't remember whose house. I think it's Grace's house. I'm not 100% sure though.
It'd have to be.
Yeah. They take her to her house and they're all doing their research and whatever else. And she's on the couch sleeping and she's still regenerating and her skin starts glowing, which we've seen before. Heaps of doctors, regen glow and all sorts of stuff. But it's like that one random piece of regen energy or whatever you want to call it starts floating off into the sky. And I felt like that was going to play out to be important or something in some sort of way, but maybe I was just overthinking it. Like, did when you was watching that, was you like, oh, maybe that's important? Or
yeah, I thought maybe it would tie in somehow, like maybe down the line or something. But
maybe, yeah. But it's just it seemed weird to just have focus on.
Yeah, it seems to be an odd shot.
Yeah, I wasn't quite sure.
Just randomly add. Maybe we're just looking for too much meaning in everything.
I think we are. Maybe we're just too used to Stephen Moffat era of Doctor Who, where it's like, it's all gonna.
There's clues everywhere.
There's clues everywhere. Which, as a side note on that, I enjoyed a lot of that to a degree. The silence, how they solved the astronaut killing the Doctor, like all that stuff, I thought was really smart. But then a lot of stuff he started doing after that, I felt was just, he's like, I was smart that one time, so now I've. Like even the River Song stuff, I felt like was doing the right thing with, and then he fucked it by the end of it and started just like, I'm too smart for my. Yeah. Anyway, could do a whole episode on.
I feel like this is going to be what's going to happen every epispisode. We're going to be complaining.
Maybe for the first couple.
Maybe for the first 10 episodes, yeah.
For the first season. Can't help but keep coming back and be like, what's Stephen Moffat's era? Fucking this. So then we cut over to Raoul, who we hadn't met before, but I for a second thought that I'd missed a scene. Because they come in on this character.
Yeah.
He's got his friend. He's like, just drop it here, and he's picked up the egg thing that Ryan left, which they went back to go find. That's worth noting. They did take the Doctor to go look at the egg, and they didn't find it. That's because it's gone, and that's because these characters have come in and picked it up. And I was like, did I miss something? Did the episode skip ahead? No, okay, we're just supposed to know who these people are. That's fine. They drop it in there. He says, "No, mate, to his friend. He says, "No, mate, I'll meet up with you on Monday. I'll pick you up at 8 or some shit like that." And then gets down a camera chair and just starts filming this egg thing. Now, of course, he's just waiting for it to open. But at the time, I'm thinking, is he going to like crack it open? Is he about to pull out like a world-sized heater to crack this egg? Like, what are we?
He's going to destroy it or something? Yeah.
Like, what are we doing? Yeah, but it doesn't play out as eventful as it was playing out in my mind at all.
No.
He literally just waits for the egg to hatch open. Or it's not really an egg, I suppose, but looks like a fucking egg to me.
Weird-shaped egg.
Yeah. Weird alien craft egg shaped thing.
Yeah. Hershey's Kiss egg.
Yeah. Then the Doctor awakens and she's like, I've got all the ideas with this newfound energy that's still done. I'm still not done regenerating, but I've got all this energy and I've got 1,000,001 ideas how to track down the alien. She's like, can I have your phone, Ryan? Gives Ryan. And then she actually, I laughed out loud when she said this line. Actually, it's just like, I've just
formatted it.
Just reformatted your phone. He's like, you did one? I got all my stuff on that. She's like, yeah. Like,
not anymore.
Not anymore.
So happy. Just so happy with herself. Yeah.
So happy that I reformatted your phone. It was great. I'm like, well, that's well, way to go, man. So then they all point out that they've got the red dots as well, which we as an audience knew about when they showed the thing shooting them into. But it's the first time that the cast themselves have noticed it, which we then learn, they're probably bombs.
Yeah.
It'll be fine though. Bombs in your neck. What's the worst that can happen apart from blowing your head complete off? Which, sucks, I would assume. So using the reformatted phone, the Doctor leads them to a warehouse out in the middle of nowhere,
but she puts it up against the neck and she like blows herself across the room. Like, I like that
it's true,
stuff.
Yeah, it's like up against the wall and it's like, let's go.
Yeah.
let's get out of here. Everything will be fine.
Yeah.
Leads them down to this thing, and then we see then after they cut back to Rahul, who's sitting in the room. Alien cracks open. Big tin monster looking thing. Obviously, it doesn't look anything like a Sideman. I'm pretty sure they would, try to stay far away from that kind of comparison. But it's like a robotic suit, of course, that comes out kind of in like the Terminator position. Like it seemed like at first, like one knee down. I
definitely got Terminator Predator vibes.
Yeah. Well, I'll go over it in depth when we discuss the film a bit more, but one of my biggest complaints is I could not get away from thinking about the fucking Predator the whole time I was watching this thing. There's too many things that were just reminding me of Predator. And it's nothing to do with the character design. It's like things they're doing. Like, it's weird. Yeah. But, so that thing comes out. I don't know what his plan was. He had a really shitty plan. I have no idea what it was. He wasn't sitting there with a gun. Like, yeah, when it comes out, I'll stick my gun to the alien's head and say, tell me where my sister is. He's just like, I got this. Like,
yeah, that was not planned through great.
No. Well,
some sort of restraint, something.
I would argue for someone
maybe he thought it was just going to have a civil conversation.
For someone who had, we learn later, for someone who we learn later had on his wall in his room, you know, all these newspapers and details, and like, it's like, this guy was super planned for this, and he was tracking down like however they explain it, like changes in the Earth's atmosphere or something like that to track down when this thing was coming, is how they explain it. For all of his planning and in that regard, when it comes to execution of what to do when he's actually got the alien in front of him, give a 0. I give a 0.
Massive flaw
on your plan there, real. So it doesn't really work out well for him. Of course, he is. We learn later that it's.
He gets frozen.
He gets frozen. Like he puts his hand up and he freezes their face off.
Which makes sense because the teleportation thing was cold as well.
Yeah.
So,
and that part was, you know, I'm sure a painful death as it is. But then even though they don't show it, I thought it was kind of like. For Doctor Who, I felt like the bending down and then like the sound of the and we learn later that's like the snapping of the jaw as he reaches in to grab the teeth. Like that sound, I was like, oh, yeah, that's a bit.
Yeah,
it's a kids show, remember everyone? But I reckon, like, I wasn't scared watching this, but sometimes you have to look at the Doctor Who episodes in the, like, if I was a kid, would this be scaring me? And if the answer is yes, then it's probably a good Doctor Who episode, because like that's the like the go about it. This one scares kids as far as I'm concerned. Like this one has to scare kids because the monster's gross-ish, and then it's very dark at times. Someone dies by the end of the episode. You know, people's jaws are getting fucking snapped. I'm like, if I was a kid, this is a scary one. So when the Doctor and co show up, monster's running off into the distance, and it's a funny line where like she takes off after him as he's leaving, and then Graham says, "Why is she running after the monster?" Which I thought was a funny line because of course it's what the Doctor does. We run after monsters. We need to find out what they're doing. Gets inside. They of course discover the body. They're all looking at it very calmly for what in my mind is a disgusting thing. Like if I'm picturing someone on the ground, face frozen, jaw ripped upwards, like, you know, broken to a degree, that's a disgusting image. However, everyone's just there like, oh, he's dead. That sucks. Like it seemed very calm for what would probably be a disturbing sight to me. Then they begin searching the room for clues, I guess. Yeah. Anything that can help them find the alien creature or what's going on. Of course, they look through the pod. They see the red, the things that we find out later are like transportation fuel. I'm not really sure what, like transportation. Let's just leave it at that. Or something. Teleportation. Stone jewel things of some sort. And then the Doctor at one stage is trying to figure something out. It's like, fuck, if I only had my Sonic. Now, at first I haven't gone back and rewatched the last episode with Capaldi, but where was his glasses? Does he take them off and leave them in the TARDIS?
I mean, probably. It sounds like.
Because in my mind, she's like, where's my Sonic? If she pulled out the glasses and had it been like...
Were they destroyed in the last episode?
I honestly cannot remember.
Yeah.
I really cannot remember. What, did the first Doctor destroy him in the Christmas special or some shit? Like, what do we...
Did you even use it in the Christmas special?
I can't remember. I honestly can't remember. But I was like, surely if he had them, they would have been in the pocket there. And I was thinking it would have been funnier because she can't remember who she is, obviously. You know, she can't remember her name, but she remembers enough to be like, Sonic, that would help me.
Wouldn't it be funny if she's got the glasses in her pocket, she doesn't realize it's
yeah, that's what I was thinking. So it would have been a funny scene if she pulled out the glasses and was like, and then just chucked them, and be like, what us as audience members are like, no, like you build a real Sonic because I'm over the sunglasses, which I was over the sunglasses. Yeah. But it would have been funny to at least be like, there's what you wanted. You just chucked them across the room. That was quite funny. So she builds a Sonic. What do you think of her?
The building montage?
Well, I like the building montage because I thought it was quite funny and amusing. And as I tweeted out, the moment I really knew I liked it was the moment where she held up the spoon and was like, the biggest grin at the spoon. I was like, I like this lady. She's funny. What do you think of the montage? But overall, what do you think of her Sonic? Because it's the most mangled thing.
It's an interesting looking one.
Can you sell that?
It's very different to the last batch.
All of them, apart from sunglasses, I guess.
It doesn't look like a screwdriver, that's for sure.
No, it looks like a pocket knife to me.
Yeah.
Is what it reminded me of. When she first came out of that room, I was like, I've done it. I'm like, that looks like
it looks like the handle of a Stanley knife or something.
Yeah, I'm like, do I have that one? I don't think I have it in front of me. No, I don't. I was about to say, there's a Stanley knife in here somewhere, and it's, that color, chrome, silver chrome, or whatever you want to call it. That's what it
halfway to your cosplay.
Yeah, exactly. I cosplay as the 13th Doctor. And straight away, I was just thinking, like, product-wise, how do you sell that Sonic in particular? Unless she gets a better one later.
Both ends, of course, it's going to sell well.
But it just looks terrible. It just looks... I mean, it looks exactly what it is, which is a half-assed, rushed, put together random objects Sonic, which I don't really want to get into the whole how does she make a Sonic out of random objects in a random garage. I'm willing to look past that because I don't think it's really important, but at the same time it is like, I don't think it's I'm happy she's got a Sonic. It's intriguing, cool thing. I like the montage. From the outside, a lot of the aspects about the 13th Doctor is female, so it's obviously a good role model for little girls watching at home. And I saw someone write an article rightfully and point out how cool the montage was to see a female character on screen doing that montage in particular, because it was like it was a female character making stuff and doing all sorts of stuff. A area that females are still by stereotype to be like not in or have interest in, I guess is the way to put it. Like it's still an area that they're stereotyped to not have an interest in because it's not a woman's thing.
Okay.
So from that aspect, it was interesting.
Okay, I'm going to show you where my mind went. Just went. The person who made Heath Ledger's armor in A Knight's Tale was a woman.
I don't think I've ever watched Knight's Tale, to be honest.
What?
No. Sorry.
Coming to What Do You Want to Watch soon.
I haven't. I don't think I have. I've watched Black Knight.
That's not coming to What Do You Want to
So we build the Sonic. Then she scans all over the ship, pinpoints the how's she work it out again? I can't. She's like, oh, it's come this far, blah 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 blah. Trajectory, I honestly can't remember. Of something. Anyway, it was the most
it's a lot of words.
It was a lot of usual Doctor stuff of like this plus this. Really, what it is say enough stuff so the audience is like, sure, yeah, exactly. So they track down the monster they track down first the coil electric thing, whatever we want to call it, which they get a bunch of stuff and they zap it with enough that it goes down, with enough electricity that it goes down. And they Doctor does a bunch of stuff to that. Of course, we learn later that while she's scanning this and doing whatever else, she transfers over their bombs into that somehow. Sonic screwdriver does everything but open doors, including transfer bombs.
Things in other people's bodies into something else, which then gets transferred to somebody else's body.
You got it, Ash. You got it. And then the monster shows up. It's like, hey, what? It's like, I can't remember the exact line he says, but like they're like crouched down or something. He's like, he basically said something like, "Excuse me, what are you doing?" Like it was just like such a weird. I wasn't like, "I'll kill you." It was like, "Hey." What are you doing to my thing? And we find out that the electric thing, which at first they thought was this Godzilla versus Kaiju King Kong or whatever battle that was going to be set up on Earth, which
it was like an Alien versus Predator sort of thing.
Yeah, when I was playing that off as a plot, I was like, oh god, like we're come on now, we're going there. But then we find out that this thing doesn't help me either. Then we find out that the electric eel thingy is actually the pet or some sort of minion of the other thing. And now at this stage, having only watched that fucking terrible the Predator movie a couple weeks ago, which has Predator dogs in it, I'm like, cool. So the electric shock thing is like the Predator dogs to Tim Shaw. Like that's what this thing is. Which, of course, as we're saying that's what we find out the alien's name is, Tim Shaw.
Tim Shaw,
which is a funny scene. Which is a funny scene where he's like, Tim Shaw, and she's like, Tim Shaw. Tim. It reminded me of a Little Britain scene or something along those lines. Tim Shaw. Shaw? Tim Shaw is my name. But that's the evil villain name if I've ever heard one.
Such a plain name for
Tim
killer alien.
Tim Shaw. And he also takes off the helmet, or the front of the helmet, which, again, is something that Predators do. And we find out that, disgustingly, the reason he rips apart the jaw is to reach in, because he can't take the front teeth apparently, has to reach in and take a tooth from all his victims.
He's a fan of molars, okay?
There you go. It's on his Facebook profile. Fan of molars. Tim Shaw, fan of molars. And he sticks the teeth into his face somehow, and that's where they stay. And yeah, that was quite disgusting, I found. You know, I wasn't like gagging, but at the same time, when that was revealed, like, I was a little bit like, kind of gross, isn't it? Like, there's something gross about teeth when you do stuff like that, you know? Like, I can see your teeth, not grossing me out. See my teeth now.
Out of body teeth is not good.
But out of body teeth, it's weird how it suddenly.
The weirdest take on the tooth fairy ever.
There you go. Now, Predators don't do that now, but they do take trophies. Just putting another pin in the collection of things as we discuss the villain as a whole at the end. So then we find out that Tim Shaw's ultimate plan is to collect another trophy. He's collecting a human that they take back to their planet. They stick in a machine of sort somewhere between life and death, he says later, and it's basically a art piece collection for their species.
He's doing it so he can become the leader.
Yeah, and he's doing it so he can
rite of passage.
Yeah, but not rather stereotypical for like evil alien species storyline, I guess, to a degree. Wasn't super either way. I was like, whatever. Yeah, that's a storyline.
Yeah.
So they figured out that the person he's trying to track down is what's his name? I had it written down here somewhere, but I've already lost it. Carl. Trying to find out where Carl is. Who's, you know, of course, he's not out enjoying a lovely day off work because of his incident in the morning. He
would have been hard to find.
Yeah, it would have been harder to find then, when no one would have known where he was, you dickhead. But instead, he's right back at work. That's where he is. So they track him down to the construction site, and they do a whole, you've got to do this, bit of teamwork will get us there. I'm the doctor and I'll lead us.
Teamwork makes the dream work.
Yeah. Slogan of this season. You've got it there.
Yeah, I think so.
So it is laid out as Grace and Graham are to somehow find vests quickly, put them on, and a clipboard, I think she was even holding, and everything, and try and help
you can
people
find
out
pretty easily at a construction site.
I mean, yeah, probably could actually, but it still means like they ran into a building or something. Surely it was like excess security vests, clipboard.
Yeah.
Okay. So they run off, and that's how they evacuate the site. Even though I don't really feel like the site was necessary to be evacuated, but It's fine. Tim Shaw was only trying to take one person. You know, he wasn't trying to blow up the entire.
I'm sure he would have left everybody else alone.
I believe he would have.
Yeah.
Yes, I believe he would have. So, and then Yaz and Ryan climb into the crane opposite of where Carl is, because Tim Shaw's trying to climb up to where Carl is.
And the doctor.
And the doctor, but she ends up climbing up on top of it. And the plan is, I'll get on top, used to figure out how to control this thing. And of course, there is that one moment where Ryan does slip for a second, but I don't feel like they played out like he's going to be such a klutz all season.
Anybody could have slipped.
But yeah, exactly. Anyone could have slipped there, I feel. So they get up there, and then the plan is, of course, we'll swing you around, connect up to two cranes. Carl can climb out of his crane, and then just nicely walk across. But of course, that doesn't happen. And as they're swinging the doctor back around to get close to where Carl is, the power gets blown the fuck up by the electric
assistant
dog
thing.
Sidekick. It's like all episode are just like million words to describe it, don't really have a decided descriptive for what this thing is. So that shocks the whole system. That thing has come back to life, or awoken, really, I suppose, and shut the power. So now it's a whole matter of, Carl, jump, you can make it, Carl. And I mean, look, I can understand if you're afraid of heights, which Carl obviously is afraid of heights, and this is the trouble we're having here.
Which is terrible if you're a crane operator.
If you're a crane operator, yeah, that's what I'm thinking the whole time. But then you're looking behind and you're like, well, that's a big fucking alien thing coming after me.
It just climbed 100, 200 meters up.
Yeah,
this crane
to get
just for me.
Just for me.
I want to get away.
So at this point, it's like, I can either go with that thing and die, or jump, live, or just jump and die. Either way, you know, like there's two die options and one live. Just
I mean, it probably wasn't going to work out great even if you got across, because how are they going to move the crane? They were just going to run.
Well, I mean, if the power was
the
still running, he runs across the other side, and then the
power wasn't running though. The power got cut out.
When they got into the train, like the crane, if the eel creature hadn't have fucked the power off.
If it hadn't, it would have been fine. But it didn't,
that's what I mean. If it would have been fine. Well, I mean, once the power's fucked, he still has to jump across.
Yeah.
Anyway, like there's no other choice. Jump across and we'll run,
and hopefully get away.
Hopefully get away, or stay there and just
meet your
die,
fate.
I suppose. So he goes to jump, builds up to it. Good on you, Carl. Believed in you, mate. Good job. Top job. He committed.
Those tape CDs working.
He was in the air. Yeah, those is. I am needed. I am loved. I am special.
I'm important.
I am important. I am a good person. He jumps. He was in the air, but then of course Tim Shaw somehow like goes from being so far behind him to directly in front of him, really fucking fast it seemed. Grabs him, pulls him back over the thing, and then we have this whole slow motion epic scene with the doctor doing like this big run jump. And I will say, all these like I was saying before about the cinematography and stuff, I think the long shots, like the wide angle shots of the crane, I thought they looked pretty good. And like however they went about having someone on top, if they had a stunt double or it was CGI, I don't like these days it's like, what's actually cheaper? I don't work in the business, so I don't know, but I feel like the lines are like crossed to degrees. However they went about it, I thought looked pretty good. And then when the doctor jumped, it was cool, but it was funny how they slowed it down and they cut to all these shots of everyone being like, whoa. It's like, the doctor's such an action hero. It's basically at the start of Casino Royale. You got Daniel Craig running across cranes. You know, got the doctor doing the exact same thing. The doctor's now the action hero. That's it. Doctor for next James Bond. Who said the next James Bond can't be a woman? Proving it here.
The producers.
Fuck them. What do they know? Get a new producer. That's what they did for Doctor Who. That's how you get around it.
No, they're not. These producers aren't leaving James Bond.
God damn it. So she jumps across and we have this whole... she begins trying to negotiate with Tim Shaw, I would say. And down on the ground, Graham and Grace are like, fuck, we better stop this electric eel. What's the thing? Whatever we got it.
That wasn't doing anything else.
No, it did seem to be doing anything else, but...
It just seemed to be there being electric.
Yeah, it's like, I'm here.
That was it. Yeah,
I don't really
wasn't
know.
hurting anybody.
No, it did. It did its
Really
thing.
didn't need to do anything.
It shut off its power. It shut off the power. I think that's about as far as it was gonna go. But you know Grace.
In hindsight.
We all know Grace, and she wasn't.
Yeah,
gonna
we
leave
all
that
know
be.
Grace.
We all know Grace, and Grace wasn't going to leave that to be at all. She couldn't fucking leave that one hanging
You
there.
put it down. That's what she did.
Put that down. So they hook up the old Ghostbusters backpack. Whatever was going on there.
She needed to jumpstart it. That's what.
Yeah. And she gets climbing up there. And you know, the moment you get, this is the moment where I'm like, they're actually going to kill her, of course. It's because they have the whole, Graham's like, don't go, you know, they have that moment. And I'm like,
yeah.
That's where I know where we're going now. I understand where this show's going at this point. I still don't think it was the right decision, but whatever. So she
was excited.
She begins climbing up, go zap that fucker, and then she gets up there, and around the same time that she's reaching it, I guess the doctor's up there having the last of negotiations with Tim Shaw. She's like, look, got one of your teleportation devices. Look, I know what it is. Even if you didn't know what it is, if you found that stuff in the pod, you'd still be like, it might be important. Should take it, I suppose.
Yeah.
Either way. So he's like, I'll just take this fucking thing. She's like, no, you ain't going anywhere without these. And he does stumble back a bit like, oh, fuck you. You've got me now. What am I going to do? I really need Carl. I need to take Carl home with me. So she's like, you know, let Carl go. Take your teleportation device. Just get the fuck off the planet. She didn't really do I'm the doctor and I protect Earth, but she did finally do I remember who I am and I'm the doctor. Which was a cool moment, of course.
Yeah.
But for the episode, because it's the first time she remembers, as I was saying before. So I feel like it culminates for new viewer and old viewer. Because as old viewer, you're like, as the music kicks in and everything, and she's like, I am the doctor. The first time hearing her actually say that was quite cool. I felt, especially with, you know, the music kicks in and everything. It's epic moment. Yes, she's saying she's the doctor, and then new viewers like, yes, she's the doctor. What's that mean in the long run? I don't know. The show's called Doctor Who, but there you go. It's fine. It all makes sense now. Then Tim Shaw's like, fuck yeah, I ain't doing that, and he had the option. Yeah, it was laid out there. He's like, no, I'll gotcha. We're gonna blow all these up, activate all these neck bombs. Then off your dead body, he doesn't say this really, but
That's
implies off your dead body, I'll just take my transportation thing or whatever his long plan there is. Presses the button, or whatever it is, activates all the bombs, except for none of them go off. They all start going off, well, they do go off. They all start going off inside of him. And it's revealed that the doctor transferred the bombs into the electric eel monster thingy.
Electric wire thing.
That was, of course, then he transferred all the data from that thing had been gathering into himself, which included the bombs as well. Well, that's how it's all explained. Yeah. And then
that was a design flaw.
Yeah, it does seem like a design flaw in the long run, doesn't it? And then as he's stumbling backwards, I really like this moment because I feel like a lot of the moments kind of says, this is the kind of doctor that you've got here on your hands, you know, because there are several key moments here. She says, here, take this, just leave. She's not like, I'll kill you or anything, which isn't obviously very Doctor-esque, but she's like, she gave the chance and she didn't like blow the bombs up herself, but she knew that if he did it, like what was going to happen would be that he would be blowing himself up. But the most important moment is that as he's stumbling back, Carl's like, fuck you, mate. Kicks him off the edge of the crane, but he still manages to save himself by activating teleporter device and jumps off into the hole. But as the doctor runs up beside Carl, she says, there was no need to do that. Which seems like a throwaway line because she says it quickly and then the scene straight away cuts down to what's happening with Grace and Graham.
And they never address it again. Yeah.
They never really address it. But I feel like if you're a long time viewer of the show, that is a very important line to kind of show you what doctor you've got on your hands here. She wasn't super like, I'm the doctor and I'll rule and destroy your world if you don't do, you know, let my friend here go or whatever else like that. She just laid out the options. She was like, let him go. You can go, leave, go, Pete. Don't come back to the planet again, please. You know, probably don't do that. It's protected, whatever. Yeah. But then when it came down to it at the moment when she kicked him, and I feel like previous doctors would have just been like, maybe would have thought that's not necessary, but would have been like, just not said anything or nothing like that. But she just straight up says there was no need to do that. Yeah. So I feel like that was one of the most important lines in the episode when it come to Jodie Whittaker's doctor. And then, we cut back down to Grace and Graham on the floor there. Well, she's about to be on the floor. Oh, oh, that was nasty. But yeah, she's up there shocking the thing. And then, of course, she gets shocked and thrown back onto the ground. Graham runs out over the body. She seems fine, to be fair. Like, she's kind of just like, I'm fine. Because realistically, there would have been a lot of blood. But of course, it's Doctor Who. It's, family kids show, so they don't have that everywhere. But that's why I suppose
you would be instantly concussed. Unless the way she was falling, you would fall on your back and you'd smash your head.
Yeah, so she smashed it.
Maybe you just break your legs.
Yeah, if she landed like that, but I'm pretty sure they're saying that she landed flat back on her body and like smacked her head, which means that she would have been bleeding everywhere out of her skull
and concussed
and everything.
At least
there's the kind of things you just ignore for the show, I guess. Graham runs up. They have their last words. Look after Ryan. Miss you. Love you. Bye-bye. And then we quickly cut to the funeral because they're like, fuck, we've got about 10 minutes left in the episode. We got to set up the next one. Got to get going, everyone. Let's start cutting through soon. So they cut to the funeral. The doctor's there. The same clothes. It's either the quickest funeral ever. And I know that funerals can happen fast. Sometimes they can happen pretty fast depending on, money and all those sorts of things in your life.
Yeah.
But this seems like it literally happened the next morning. Yeah, and they've got all the family from around and, everyone's like come into town. So I was like, that's a bit weird, but
maybe I assume there was a bit of a time jump, but just the way it was.
At which stage the doctor's literally just been,
I think she's just wearing the same clothes all the time.
Just been chilling around at Grace's, twiddling.
None of Grace's clothes fit.
Apparently, I don't know. But yeah, so they have the funeral. Graham does do a nice speech about how Grace was the best person he ever met, and she used to say all these things, and that was a good scene. Then we cut to outside where those three are hanging around with the doctor, which again I was like, would Graham be inside like with a bunch of people being like, I'm sorry for your loss, like mingling or whatever.
Even Ryan,
or even just more upset, I guess. Like this is another one of my criticisms with the episode is that he doesn't seem upset enough, I guess. And I don't want to put a bar on how upset you have to be because obviously everyone handles grief different in their life. However, it is literally the day of the funeral and he was up on the podium when he was doing his speech. He did seem to be getting like emotional when he was doing all that. And then straight away it cuts outside and he's like, get some fish and chips, lunch, or like, what are we doing? Like,
we met 3 years ago.
Yeah,
I had cancer.
Yeah. He's like, I had cancer, met her. That's my whole story. So they add on top of the sadness part of it. It's like, and he's like, hey, you want to go home, doctor? You want to go shopping first? No worries, I'll meet you there. It's fine. Go about it. Yeah. I'm Graham. I'll go talk to some bus drivers on the way. It'll be fine. It'll be tops. It'll be great. So yeah, they head off and obviously they have the whole scene where the doctor finally gets her outfit, which is Ryan and Yaz take her shopping. I enjoy every doctor's clothing moment because we know what they're going to look like ahead of time because you get the promotional material and the trailer and all those sort of things. But the moment when they actually get the clothes, I always enjoy how they go about it because different doctors do it different ways. Some of the times the doctor goes inside the TARDIS and it's like, my selection of clothes here. They go about this one is like, she runs in, she's like this. I like how when she walks out, I really like her outfit as well. Like I'm a big fan of her.
Yeah.
Her costume.
It looks practical.
Yeah, looks good. Good coat, everything. That's the thing for the doctor. Good coat. That's the go-to thing. When she walks out, I like how Yaz is just like, that's the one you're going with? And she's like, this is the one I'm going with. Like, it's like at times she seems very childlike, I guess, in element, which is similar again to Matt Smith, I suppose, and at times. Gets outfit, they then head off. This is another apparently the 13th Doctor's really good at building stuff. And that's not to say the Doctor has never been good at building stuff beforehand.
Yeah.
This in particular, the 13th Doctor appears to be really good at building really high-tech stuff out of nothing. Yeah. Sonic, way to transport myself to the TARDIS. It's fine. No worries. So they get into a garage. She hooks up a bunch of junk, I guess.
This dead... I think it's the dead person's garage from before.
Okay, that makes it even weirder. They're like, someone died here. He's still got stuff here.
Nobody's looking for him.
No one. Yeah, it'll be fine. We'll just use his random junk. Everything will be okay. So they hook all that up. She's like, cool, send me off. I'll zap this thing. I'll press the microwave button or whatever it is. And she's like, all right, see you later. Hope you enjoy your live. And of course, the whole time watching this, you're like, they come with her, obviously. Like, it's very, come on.
Yeah.
I didn't expect it to end the way it does, but I was like, they're going to come with her. She gets zapped away. They all get zapped away. And then they're in space. They're floating in the middle of the deserts of space. Which,
all about to die. It was a good run.
Well, I mean,
how many years? Over 50?
55 years?
That's how the Doctor...
I'll give the Doctor a pass. 2 hearts, everything like that. Maybe she can survive a little bit longer in outer space.
Yeah.
The rest of them are dead by now. Like, I don't care if the TARDIS sweeps in 2 seconds later and saves them. They're dead by the end of this episode, realistically.
Yep. But this is science fiction.
Yeah, I know.
Not just science.
Yeah. Just wanted to put it out. So, but before you go on the film, what do you think is going to happen? How do you reckon they're getting it? What do you think is going to happen?
I think another ship comes along and picks them up.
Just another random ship that happens to be going past.
Yeah. They just show up like a fly on a windscreen.
Yeah, that could work. Something like that I can see happening. I joke about my theory about the TARDIS never showing up, but at the same time, I'm like, that would be funny if that was like the plot of
that would be an interesting plotline.
Like, we're trying to find the TARDIS.
Whole season without a TARDIS. And then at the end of the season, the TARDIS is fixed. It's not blue box.
We have seen it in the background in promotional material, right? But we haven't seen it, unless I'm forgetting. And I haven't gone over the trailers recently. But I don't recall seeing inside or outside. Definitely not inside. I don't recall seeing outside of the TARDIS in any of the trailers. All I'm going to do is throw it out there. A whole season trying to track down the TARDIS. Is that a possibility? Anything's possible. Who knows?
Yep.
All right, let's go on to the final thing. So let's talk about the villain, Mr. Tim Shaw. What were your overall thoughts on Tim Shaw, and what would you rate him out of 10 as a Doctor Who villain?
I'd say like a 5. He's pretty forgettable. I mean, if 10 is a Dalek and 1 is something I don't know, maybe even a 4. I mean, he was just there to serve his purpose of getting them all together and giving us an introduction to the Doctor. But
yeah, I feel like,
and like you said, there's heavy Predator connections.
I couldn't get it out of my head. And it starts with the whole Alien vs Predator setup thing, which then gets away. But then everything from I take trophies, my mask comes off similarly, and I'm not saying that's Predator's the only thing that ever does that. However, other elements just made the mask relate to the Predator thing. I take trophies for stuff.
Predators have a lot of teeth.
Have trophies. Predators do have a lot of teeth. Yeah, you are correct. We're tying it all back in. I've got a little pet that's scouting out for me. One-man army come down to Earth to not kill someone but take them. But, basically Doctor Who equivalent of a Predator, I guess. But Tim Shaw. And also their name, which I can't help but keep saying. Tim Shaw. Yeah, I think... I really don't feel like the low quality of the villain affects the overall episode, though, which is the thing. I gave the episode an 8 in my written review, explosionhour.com, in my written review, and I feel like if the villain was stronger than the episode, could have been better, but I don't feel like even if the villain was a little bit worse, it affects the episode that much. I mean, if the villain was garbage,
Terrible.
just like you cringing watching, then it brings the episode down. But it was just, as you said, it was just subpar, good enough to serve the episode where the main purpose is.
You don't want a villain to overshadow these new characters you're introducing, so it made sense.
Yeah,
Doing
so it
something
does make sense.
bland.
It's like the main purpose of this first episode is, yes, we do want to have a villain and all that sort of typical Doctor Who stuff, but it's the first episode, new Doctor, new companion / friends of the Doctor. That's what the main focus should be on. So they did pick us, like the villain isn't super exciting. I'd give Tim Shaw a solid 5. Ding 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 ding.
Yay.
By the end of the season,
What's the bell for?
we'll be able to, I don't know, just by the end of the season we'll have a nice ranking of all the Doctor Who monsters and villains throughout the show though, so that'll be good. What are you gonna give? I gave my score then as well though, but what are you gonna give the episode as a whole?
Probably like a 7.5.
Just had to go a little bit lower than me, didn't you, Ash? A little bit lower than me.
I don't think I loved it as much as you did, so I had to go a bit lower.
It's weird because I feel more critical. I often feel like I feel more critical when I do the long form. Like if we talk about something in this.
Well, it's fun to be critical, to be fair.
It's easier to be. I find it easier to obviously point out critical things. But then at the same time, I could do the show and not point out any of the things I'm critical about and just sit here and be like, I laughed so much when she did the spoon laugh. And like, I laughed so much when she did this. And like, I was sitting there like, yay, this is great. Which I was a lot of the time. That's obviously why I rated it high. But I do think if you're going to do a long form thing on one subject, like one show, one episode as we're doing now, it's like, if you're not going to point out the critical things, what's the
point?
What's the point, really? Yeah.
It needs to be really short.
Yeah, it's like, I really enjoyed the smiling at the spoon thing. What do you rate it? 8, 7.5? Cool, I go with 8. Boy, let's go. Tim Shaw.
Tim Shaw.
Tim Shaw, I can't get over it. Overall, we both enjoyed it, which is really good. It's really great. Looking forward to the rest of the season. Do you reckon, did anyone in that, at the end where it came up with all the actors?
Yeah, they did a big log list of actors coming up, which is weird. I
think they've done it before though.
Maybe.
I'll be honest. None of them stood out to me because I'm not British, I guess. Is like I knew a couple of the people, but at the same time, like I wasn't like, love that person from that show that I watch. Like,
so the only big names that I saw are Mark Addy from Game of Thrones
season
fame.
1.
Season 1. Chris North from he was in like Sex and the City and The Good Wife. Lee Mack, who was a comedian. I've seen him on a bunch of stuff. And then I think probably the biggest name is probably Alan Cumming.
That is it. Yeah, that's the one.
So
stands out.
For us, not British people, I feel like everybody else, just basic from clean, like small looks at everybody, they seem to be like from Coronation Street or like the soaps and that sort of stuff from over there.
Well, Graham's from Coronation Street.
Yeah,
like that's where he's did 400 or billion episodes or something prior to this. So that maybe Chris is a big Coronation Street fan. Don't know.
Maybe.
I will point out from the was saying before about like from the behind the scenes aspect that show real does stick with their notion of Doctor Who's now more inclusive and behind the scenes and in front of the scenes, because you're watching that thing and it is like very varied upcoming
very
diverse upcoming cast of supporting and extra characters on episodes. So and it is funny, like I don't want to talk about it every episode, but so I'll just point out now. When they did that, when the news story broke and they were like, we're having the first ever black writer on Doctor Who after 55 years, I was like, 55 years? You're having the first one? Finally? Like, what the fuck? Okay, yeah, that's good news, but at the same time, it's like, wow. That's...
I know. I guess Stephen Moffat was just hoarding all the episodes.
He did write a few of them, and he did Stephen Moffat was also someone who had like his proteges, I suppose, is the way you'd go about it, and they were the ones who he would often bring in to direct and write episodes, which whatever.
They've got a different structure to America, where they've got like a writer's room, I believe.
Shows in America have writer. Depends on the show.
Yeah, no, like American shows have writer's room, whereas the British shows, I think they do. They're more not like that.
I really don't. I think it might depend on the show. I know that like a lot of shows like on TV, it's like the script's done by someone. They won't coordinate with the director or anything, and the director might just come in like they don't have as much time to prep, I guess, is the thing, unless they're heavily involved in the show. But that's going to be it for this week's episode. I was about to correct myself and say, no, not it. But yeah, Doctor Who is a weekly show. What the fuck? That was weird. Yeah. So we'll be doing this obviously for the next 9 weeks, unless something weird happens. But that doesn't usually happen for Doctor Who, I feel. But yeah, for the next 9 weeks, you can join us here on twitch.tv/Explosion Network, where you can watch the show live, of course, or check it out on the VODs if that's your preferred way to watch video on demand content. The show goes up 24 hours later on youtube.com/Explosion Network over there, so you can subscribe to there. Ring the bell. That's what I was doing before, Ash. I was doing a ring the bell sound. Ring that bell.
It rang too early. That's
ding,
what happens.
It rang too early, which is what everyone should be doing. And the show is available on podcasting services, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, other ones. Search for them on your preferred one. Not Google, sorry. But all the other ones, it does exist on. This is a product of Explosion Network. Of course, you can follow Explosion Network on Twitter @ExplosionPod. Head on over to ExplosionNetwork.com to find how many of our shows, great content, podcasts, news, reviews, articles, things I mentioned before, like the Doctor Who episode 1 written review by myself truly. You can follow Ashley on Twitter @Ashley Hobley, ASHLEYHOBLEY.
Yeah.
You can follow me on Twitter @VivaLadil, VIVALADIL. Thank you for joining us this week. We will be back next week. Until then, bye-bye.